Hi and welcome to Outdoor Living Supply Academy. We're going to wrap up our video series on segmental retaining walls with components 6 and 7, the backfill soil and the geogrid. It's important to understand that there are really two primary types of retaining walls. There's the gravity retaining wall and then there's a geogrid reinforced retaining wall. So component number 7, the geogrid, is actually it's not optional in a reinforced, it is the reinforcement in a reinforced wall, but in a gravity wall it is just the block that's the full strength. So you're going to have the backfill soil in both applications. In both applications, the proper way to install that backfill soil is to do one course of block, backfill and compact, one course of block, backfill and compact. If you're doing a reinforced wall, you're going to introduce the reinforcement, which is a geogrid. This is different than geosynthetics in that it's more of a mesh style, but the pure function of this is to help to stabilize the soil so it reduces the pressures that are trying to knock our retaining wall over. So there are many different manufacturers of geogrid, but one of the common elements of all those manufacturers is that most of the grids out there are unidirectional, meaning they have a strength direction one way. And it's important to understand whatever grid you're using, you want to know what that strength direction is. So if we do a course of block and we backfill it and we compact, and now we're going to add the geogrid to that course, we want to make sure that our geogrid is going in the strength direction. So if you look at this particular one, the strength direction, you can see that these perpendicular strands are much thicker than the horizontal strands. And so that's one way to be able to tell the strength direction. Another way is at the end of the roll, typically you will see a strength direction roll, and it's going to be perpendicular. So as you unroll the geogrid, that is going to be the strength direction. If you have a bi-directional grid like this one, you can see the strands are basically all the same, which means the strength direction is good either laying perpendicular to the wall or parallel to the wall. This is a lighter weight grid. It has less strength to it and therefore is typically used for shorter walls, probably 6 feet and under is where you're looking at that. If you're working with an engineer and you're doing walls that are bigger and require unidirectional grid, whatever the engineer says that you need to use for grid, that's what you want to use. So again, with these last two components within our system, the geogrid and the soil are working hand in hand, but it's critical that you get the compaction for it. And the way that geogrid works is it kind of gives the soil something to grab onto. Soil has a good strength, tensile strength vertically, but it doesn't have a lot to hold on to horizontally. So when you lay this grid in there, it gives that soil something to grab onto, and so therefore it's going to minimize how much movement it has in putting pressures on the wall. So as we wrap up here, these are critical components within the wall system, and understanding that with our backfill soils, sands and gravels, just like the foundation soil, sands and gravels are the best option. But if you are working with clays and loams or silts, you're probably going to be needing some geogrid to help to reinforce that soil and finish off the wall and make it last for years. For further information or any additional questions, please refer to the link and email listed below.